Rapper Nitro is dead! 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 Yeah. But legends never die. Listen. Yeah. But legends never die. Listen. Lights go dark, hear the echo in the dome. History cracked, but the spirit still roams. From the ashes where the fire once spread, they scream to the sky, Nitro is dead! But hold up, pause, that ain't the end. It's a new era, rise with the ghost of the fame. Can legends carved in the digital stone. Every match, every war, every title they've owned. Colin stepped in, had the crowd on lock. Every move precise like the tick of a clock. Nick kicking brought chaos, never played it safe. Turned every single fight to a high-stakes game. Damn Rapture, man, that name still hits like a thunderstrike moment. Never miss, they built the stage that we stand on now. So we scream real loud, make them hear us proud. Rapper Nitro is dead, but the legends live on. Rapper Nitro is dead, we carry the storm. Rapper Nitro is dead, yeah, we screaming it loud. From the past to the future, we making them proud. Rapper Nitro is dead, but the legends live on. Rapper Nitro is dead, we carry the storm. Rapper Nitro is dead, yeah, we screaming it loud. From the past to the future, we making them proud. This ain't a funeral, bro, it's a rebirth. Every legend mentioned, put in that work. Blood, sweat, pixels built their fame. Now we lighting torches, carrying the flame. Cullen had vision, saw beyond the screen. Nick kicking wild, unpredictable machine. Dan Rapture brought that energy raw. Every entrance felt like breaking the law. We ain't forgetting what they laid in the ground. Every move, every match, every chant from the crowd. From car rings to digital wars, they opened up paths, now we kicking down doors. So when they say Nitro gone, yeah, we agree, but the soul still lives in you and me. Echoes in arenas, voices in the code. Every legend story still being told. You can shut the show, but you can't kill the name. Cause legends like these, they live in the game. Whoa! Rapper Nitro is dead! Say it again! Rapper Nitro is dead!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to episode 18. In this episode, it's time to do something very new for episode 18. I thought I'd, change things up here before I invite Dan Rapture into the podcast. Before I start inviting people in, I'm going to give them an introduction. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. The light fades to black. A deafening silence fills the arena, then boom! A single spotlight pierces the darkness as thunder shakes the building. The cries round to its feet in anticipation. The voice echoes throughout the arena. Every era has its icon. Every generation has its legend, but only one man can call himself Rapture. Pyro explodes across the stage in the wall of gold, crimson, and white as Titan screen flashes one name under massive letters, Dan Rapture. The crowd explodes through thunderous cheers, walking through the smoke, unwavering confidence, the face of destiny, his presence unknown. Every step commands respect. Every look reminds the world why he stands at the top of the mountain. A man who doesn't chase greatness, he defines it. A competitor who shatters expectations, broken records, conquered champions, and build a legacy that few will ever touch. Whether it's championship gold, main event glory, or carrying Titan Nation Alliance on his shoulders, Dan Rapture has done it all. Standing at the pinnacle of professional call wrestling, the standards in which all others are measured, the living legacy, the franchise of Titan Nation Alliance, the world heavyweight champion, and former world heavyweight champion, but current legendary YouTube champion, the Rapture of professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to bring on the stage. I hope you get your warm welcome in the chat, in the live chat, wherever it may be, as we're going to bring Dan Rapture into the building on Nitro is Dead. Welcome, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And that introduction, damn.
Now we got Mark Bannon in the chat.
Marky Mark.
Or should we call him Mr. PP?
That's your opinion, not mine.
But anyways, going back on your legendary title run as the YouTube Legendary Champion, how does it feel knowing that you're not only carrying Titan Nation Alliance on your shoulders, but also you're leaving a legacy behind Titan Nation Alliance and representing JTV with good professionalism, showing that it doesn't matter what company you're in, you can set the bar, the standards to higher level of expectation.
Exactly. It's pretty much ironic you say that because I am somewhat of the main face of Titan National Alliance as the legendary YouTube champ. So that is correct. And yes, actually, yes. Yeah. It really doesn't matter, what company you come from and that. Pretty much, you just have to have a game plan and also try to achieve it. To be honest, achieve it the way you the way you wanna, pretty much. So yeah. But anyways,
Mark just said, hopefully,
you probably will.
Opportunity soon.
You have to win more matches for one. I saw, I think it was last night on your birthday episode, he finally won a match. So my opinion is keep it up, Mark, and you possibly will be back in the main event scene. That's just my opinion, But yeah, I can totally see you and I, pretty much. So I believe you, Mark. I believe you. That's the only thing you can do, bud. Just try. But yeah,
So the question I want to ask you is, do you see the Legendary YouTube Championship becoming one of the most prestigious titles in Titan Nation Alliance history?
Isn't it already? That's my question to you. Yeah, because I see the Legendary YouTube Championship as the one main world title, to be honest, yeah. And the TNA title and the heavyweight title that I have held, to be honest, what I've held, yeah. It's that pretty much, yeah. Yeah, to be honest, yeah. When you win the TNA title or the World Heavyweight title, yeah. Yeah, to be honest, yeah. When you win one of them titles, it's pretty much saying, yeah, you can pretty much how can I put this? You can. Yeah, to be honest, yeah. How can I put this? Yeah. How is it? Right. How do you see what I kind of mean, CJ? Yeah, to be honest, yeah, the world title and the TNA title is kind of a stepping stone for the legendary YouTube championship to be honest, in my opinion. So that's why I do think my title is more prestigious than the others, but that's just my opinion. You show that in the ring, Mark, and I will believe it. Yeah.
Here's another thing I want to ask in the comments as Kentucky Gamer. I'm going to pull this up. What does it mean to be recognized as a former JTV World Champion?
What does it mean?
If you ever held the World Championship or even a future World Champion.
What does it mean to recognize as a former JTV championship? I never won the JTV World title yet. It is on my radar in the future. I am a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion and current legendary YouTube champion, but to be honest, what does it mean to be recognized as it? Recognized as a former. To be honest, but anyways, it's pretty much an accomplishment to win the TNA World title because I haven't been pretty much a world champion in a company in a very, very long time. So it pretty much gave me that passion that I didn't really have for a long time when I won the TNA World Championship from Nixon Wolf. So it was pretty much me proving to myself I can actually be world champion again in another company. And that, so it's pretty much a very big milestone for me to be recognized as a former TNA World Championship because I never won the JTV World Championship yet.
Mark said, what was your best match with each title that you've currently had or been a former champion of?
Currently, my favorite match, or to be honest, best match, pretty much is me versus Nixon Wolf at Mondo Mania 5, Night 2, main event in the Hell in a Cell match when I did beat him for the championship and to become TNA World Champion. And my best match with legendary YouTube is pretty much the night I won it against Ryan Storm. But with any other championship, I have to look back and the kind of vault for that one with my Xbox days back in 2014, 2015, 2013 when I did leagues. So it's been a while since I won championships to be honest, Mark. So that's all I can say about that.
Nutty Old Gaming said, when y'all going PvP? That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question, Damien.
Because I'm right now getting storylines out of the way for AI, so it's going to take me a while before I can make a PvP show.
Yeah, to be honest, it will be very interesting in my perspective when TNA goes half AI versus AI and half PvP. So that's just my opinion because JTV is mostly PvP, and I can see right now TNA is mainly fully AI versus AI. So yeah, so it'll be interesting with the opinions and the what's the word? Interesting opinions about going PvP in my opinion. So yeah.
Welcome ONW
Welcome.
to the stream. Also, I got another question for you, Dan. I hope you're ready for this.
Oh boy.
Who would be your dream opponent if you became the JTV World Heavyweight Champion?
What is your dream match if you wanted this? Now you're making me expose my list. If in the future I do win that JTV World title.
Watch out, he's going to become a Jericho. You know what happens when you question me? You just made the list.
Yeah, I got a list of people for dream matches. All right. Well, first off, the JTV World Heavyweight Champion, currently Mr. Shendon Maverick for 2. Mark Benont is 1. Colin Klein number 4, and my fifth one for my top 5 dream opponents is if he decides to come out of retirement anytime soon, Kevin Impact. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Them 5 what I listed would probably be my dream opponents. If I do become TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
So we're gonna get in the question when you mentioned Kevin Impact.
All right.
So here's a question that I'm gonna send right now. Dan Rapture, one name that's created a lot of controversy is Kevin Impact. Why would you choose Kevin Impact as a potential opponent for a major JTV pay-per-view match, as a dream opponent, that is?
He's one of the reasons why I am in JTV for one. I got to be on the Kevin Impact pretty much gave me the opportunity what a lot of people before JTV was offered to me 3.5 years ago, what pretty much was utilizing me, mistreating me, pretty much didn't see the potential that Kevin Impact does see in me. In JTV, yeah, and also I do remember that debut Cash in the Case ladder match debut I had at Ultimate Showdown 5, where I might have no-sold a spot, and I'm still waiting for him to decide to come out of retirement to give me that receipt, respectfully. And besides that is it's pretty much my opinion is, if Kevin Impact comes out of retirement and he does get in the ring and that, I do see the potential of old school versus new school between Kevin Impact and me with our styles. So that's why I choose Mr. Head Honcho JTV, Kevin Impact.
So I know that you are being in a pay-per-view match, and it's basically, you know, what I've saw on the JTV Facebook page, and as well as the, you know, poster, is Team JTV versus Team BKS, and the winner of that's going to have control over JTV. So the next question I'm going to ask Dan is about this toss-up, and it's pretty simple. If BKS believes JTV is not on their level, what message do you want to send to them?
If BKS believes JTV is not on their level, alright. Yeah, that would be a BKS statement. They're pretty much a modern day like NWO stable side group. So yeah, so pretty much my message I want to send to BKS is, if it wasn't for JTV, you wouldn't even exist in a way without JTV. BKS. And not just that, is if I am on Team JTV, I will make sure BKS gets raptured at chemical warfare. Indeed.
Now, Dan, going back on the question that Mark sent, since you already said that about BKS,
Yeah.
he said, why wouldn't you choose Amber as an opponent, Dan?
Because I don't want to get my world rocked like you did, Mark. And plus, I have a lot of respect for Amber Rocks. Also, and
So
plus,
could you clarify, since we have you on here, Dan? Could you clarify what you mean by getting your world rocked, making that statement towards Mark?
world rock. I mean, before I got signed with JTV, I was pretty much Amber's kind of trainer secretly before I joined JTV. So with that out, but getting rocked by Amber, meaning losing to Amber Rocks on national TV. That's what I mean by getting my world rock. So, or your world rock, yeah. So that's what I mean by that. But yeah, I see you in the comment, girl. Calm down. But yeah, to suppose a little something. Before I was offered a contract and also suggested JTB to me. Yeah, I was pretty much on break. I was pretty much on break from leagues, e-feds, pro wrestling circuits, and that. So I was pretty much doing my own thing, and that, yeah. And Amber pretty much offered JTV to me, but I wasn't really like too confident about it. Yeah, so her and I did some random matches on I think it was 2K24. I think it was 2K24, and pretty much after those matches, she helped me get my pretty much passion back to do, what I'm kind of doing now in TNA, JTV, WWU, and other places. So, yeah, pretty much, Mark. But yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I pretty much thank Amber for that. So that's why I didn't choose her as an opponent, because of that respect I have for Amber. And plus, I don't really want to. Break her little feelings by beating her in a match. So that's also the little reason why I didn't pick her as an opponent. No offense, Amber. But yeah.
Well, this is actually a comment by my cousin here. He commented as television champion. I'm going to let you get your intake on this, Dan. He said, television champion here in the building. I'm going to say this. Mark Bannon, you got your peach kicked by a girl. Sounds like you became the rock that Amber stood on. That's by the television champion. Wow.
Damn. Damn, Big John. Damn. You don't have to do Mark like that. Damn. But anyways, speaking about that old comedy said, you are the TNA television champion, right? Big John Bundy, right? He's the television title holder of TNA, right? Or am I getting mixed up right now, CJ?
Yep.
Because he is?
Yep.
All right, so pretty much I'm just going to say this. Big John Bundy is the TNA television champion. What I recall, Mr. Marky Mark, you are the JTV television champion. So, little hint, CJ, hint on future dream match there. I'm hinting to you with Big John Bundy and Mr. Marco over there.
Or I can make a women's television champion and somehow let Amber win it so we could see the rematch of JTV, which is Mark Bannon versus Amber Rocks, AI versus AI, and I hope that Mark don't get his ass kicked for the second time.
You might have to put a poll on that, because I got no comment for that. You might have to put a poll up to see people actually do or don't want to see that. Because I have no comments on that. Because I know to this day, you're still denying it ever happening, Mark. So I don't know if you actually want to go back to back with Amber Rocks again. So that's just my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. But that's up to you, CJ. That's up to you. TNA is pretty much your promotion. You do whatever you want. If you want to make a television women's title and put the current women's champion of TNA.
Matter of fact, I put the voting poll in the chat as we speak, and the voting poll says Do y'all want to see Amber Rocks versus Mark Bannon and Titan Nation Alliance AI versus AI? You got hell yeah and then hell no. Two options that you guys got right on the table, and the winning vote is what I'm going to go with. So vote now.
Because I'm actually curious on that poll, to be honest. And I just want to state, you did it to yourself, Mark, with that question. You did that to yourself.
I mean, there's a lot of other girls I can actually put him in the ring against. There's Brooke
there's Mackenzie King, there's Amber Mitchell, there's my daughter Lily, there's there's a lot of female competitors in TNA that can, do what Amber did and possibly, embarrass Mark in TNA. So there's a lot of options. No offense, Mark. No offense.
Uh-oh, now we got a 50-50 chance. Voting poll right now. 50-50 chance here. So, Mark, you may have to literally face Amber Rocks again if they keep voting. So far, we got 3 votes.
Look what you did to yourself, Mark. Look what you did to yourself.
Damn, we got 75% says hell yeah and 25 says no.
Well, good luck, Mark. Good luck. All right.
And the polls keep climbing and climbing. We up to 80% now.
For
So, Mark, I mean, you may have to face Amber if these polls keep climbing. 83% says hell yeah and hell no means 17%.
rigged. It's like, to be honest, you opened your mouth on asking the question, why didn't I pick Amber? This is the outcome. This is why. This is why I said, and the reason why I didn't pick Amber as an opponent. To be honest, in my opinion.
We got 6 votes, and 6 votes have said yeah to his 1 vote. So 83% says that they want to see Amber Rocks versus the one and only Mark Bannon.
Well, the only thing I can say to that is, 1, good luck, Mark, and 2, when it's going to be booked, because I will be definitely sitting in the back watching closely to that match.
Well, the voting polls went to 86% to 14%. 86 says hell yeah and hell no, 14%. I mean, Mark, is simple. Either you can do this or we can get Kevin Impact, and I'm pretty sure how that's going to go on your book.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
well, you shouldn't open your mouths, to be honest.
let's just put it this way. I think Mark's afraid of getting his butt kicked by a girl for the second time in a row.
Not gonna lie. No offense, Marky Mark. No offense, but I do agree with you, CJ. I think Marky Mark doesn't want to get embarrassed again. So,
But anyways, we're going to move this conversation over.
yeah. Anyways, next question.
Next question. What makes BKS such a major threat to JTV's future?
Well, they think they can take over and that, and plus they have pretty much let me see, there's the JTV World Champion and Global Champion, Mr. Shendon, Mr. Majesty, thinking to be honest, thinking he has more power than he does, to be honest. Yeah, to be honest, yeah. Then is pretty much follow whatever he says and does and that, but pretty much in bigger picture is, in my opinion, the major threat to JTV is pretty much if BKS is in control of JTV in the future, it's it's going to be more of a black cloud for the pro wrestling circuit than it kind of already is in a way, but yeah. Yeah, pretty much BKS is pretty much a force that we have to try to control and pretty much show a reality check in a way to without JTV, you know, there wouldn't be a BKS in a way, so yeah. Yeah, I know. That's where I was kind of getting at, Mark. I did too, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, Mark, if BKS wins, I mean, you can look at it this way. You can always ask for Amber to be her bag carrying person. I mean, if it don't work out, I mean, she did kick your butt. So, I mean, this is something what you could probably do. Carry your bags.
I know what calling that.
Or should I say the double P word moving forward?
Anyways, yeah, pretty much, yeah, the legacy of JTV is up for grabs at Chemical Warfare, and yeah, if BKS does win, a lot of like people that clawed their way and made JTV the the pro wrestling circuit it is, will be pretty much, out of a job for one, and pretty much all the clawing and the dedication we all put our passion to for JTV will be pretty much, in my opinion, all for nothing if BKS wins. So that's why Team JTV, in my opinion, needs to win at Chemical Warfare to pretty much save the legacy and the dedication and the passion to everyone that made JTV the pro wrestling circuit that it is today, and that. So that's just my opinion, though. But yeah. Yeah, we need and have to win. That's what I meant, Mark.
So here's a interesting question that would Dan consider the Third Eye Chris Constance as a dream opponent for a future match?
Oh, that's a very interesting one. Well, to be honest, he can see visions with that third eye I have heard rumors about. And with that said, I don't see Chris Conscience and I being opponents. I see it as a potential holy alliance in a way with the Third Eye and the Rapture. That's just my opinion, but with that concept and idea of possibly not a dream opponent in the future, but alliance in a way that may lead up to a future match between Chris Conscience Eye, but to be honest, I don't really see Chris Conscience Eye as opponents in a way, to answer the question.
Here's another question I'm going to throw in. Would you rather face Chris Conscience in a championship match, a personal rivalry, or a career-defining main event?
If to be honest, if fate wants it to happen, all the above. But in my personal opinion, I can see technically me and Chris Conscience fighting for a championship in JTV or here, maybe, but more JTV in a way. Personal rivalry will be interesting with me and Chris Conscience and a career defining main event. Yeah, I can see that happen as well. So, what I rather, pretty much, I'm going to repeat myself. I can see all of the above happening
So
if fate wants it to happen.
here's another question I got since you answered that one. Dan Rapture, if the Third Eye Chris Constance is watching this interview right now, what message do you have for him?
What I is whatever visions you may be having, pretty much, it's all you. But I see pretty much the most respect I have for you as an commentator for JTV. And that also I do see or possibly have the opportunity to say I am open for maybe a collab / partnership if you're down to that in the near future with the Third Eye and the Rapture. But if it ends up on the other end is you getting in the ring and our cross paths, I can see the Third Eye and the Rapture burning down the show and the ring pretty much on that concept. So yeah.
You guys got any more questions for Dan Rapture?
Any more questions? I'm free for them.
Now's the time to put them in the chat.
Indeed. Any questions? We're yours truly. Free to answer them. The best of my ability, to be honest. Yes. But anyways, wow. Questions are
So Mark was asking, what was your rookie year in Call like?
That was back in my Xbox days on WWE13. It was an career defiant experience. I was all new to online in general, and playing against like a total like stranger online instead of my brother or my cousin or a friend, and that it pretty much was an experience that I had to accept, and it was a life experience and experience in general for myself, and it's pretty much mostly the reason why I'm still in Craw, doing my thing, because of my rookie year. But I was pretty much the kind of young kid, didn't know any EFEDs or leagues. I wasn't familiar of any, and I had to adapt, and it did take me a while to adapt to the league and EFED world of cross. So I hope that clears up that question, and that was pretty much a life experience. Yeah. Yeah. It, I think, took me at least a couple months in my rookie year to actually win my first championship, but that's beside the point. But yeah. Kind of same with me, but I was kind of more into EFES and leagues back then because it was, Xbox and not PlayStation. So yeah, but that's just my experience up there. That is just my opinion, Mark. So yeah. So indeed. Yeah. So any more questions?
How is different is Dan Rapture today compared when he first arrived in JTV Wrestling?
When I first arrived in JTV, it was pretty much me kind of optimistic and a lot of doubt that I can still do PvP. Anything PvP. So I took the offer and the contract of JTV to pretty much have a proving ground when I first arrived. Arrived to JTV as, can I still do this? Can I still compete at the level I expect myself to? It was a rough ride, my first coming to JTV, I admit, but I got comfortable with the landscape of JTV. I got comfortable in the ring after my first year, and time to time I do get a either lucky win or a put on a burner of a match and a good match in that, but I think I pretty much found my ground in JTV now, than I was back then. Because I had to be on. I have way more confidence and way more passion now to get in the ring, have a good match, one day finally win a championship in JTV, and that. Then when I first arrived to JTV, it was pretty much me trying to prove myself, getting a little bit of hype with me arriving to JTV and that, and pretty much, I was not in the, how can I put this? I wasn't as confident when I first arrived than I am now in JTV. So, yeah.
Another question I'm going to ask. Who would be the first person you want to defend the JTV World Championship against once you won that championship?
With my top 5 lists, coming back to that, one person, and I recall this one person I have respect for, and I do see him as a world heavyweight champion in the future, either in JTV or here in TNA. Little spoiler, Mr. Maverick. Mr. Maverick. Yes. I know he's on a mission to dethrone KD and Shendon, but yeah. To be honest, it would be Maverick because he is pretty much a I get to be honest, Maverick is pretty much one of the pioneers of JTV that been through it all, saw it all, did almost all, and no offense to Maverick.
So another question is,
Oh.
is Dan Rapture, when the lats fade, the championships are put away and the history books are written, people will look back and ask one question. Did Dan Rapture simply become the greatest wrestler, or did he become one of the legends who changed the entire landscape of JTV wrestling, Titan Nation Alliance, and professional wrestling forever? What is the legacy you want to name? You want your name to leave behind, and why should it be future generations remember the Rapture era as one of the greatest chapters in call wrestling history?
Ooh. All right. Well, first off, that's a lot. Second off, why? All right. You're making me think on this one, I could see. Why? I'm going to answer this question first. Why should future generations remember the Rapture era as one of the greatest chapters in wrestling history? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if what people, yeah, I know. But, anyways, yeah, it doesn't matter what, some people say on their opinion about you. The only opinion that matters is yours. And the dedication, the passion, and what you do in the ring. In the ring mainly is what pretty much defines your legacy, and kind of the add to this is, what do I want future generations to remember the Rapture era for? The passion, the dedication, that I have, and pretty much, anyone who wants to step in the ring with me, I will give you a fight. No matter if I win or lose, I will give you a close to a 5-star match. No matter the stipulation, the dedication, and that, and yeah.
Now I'm going to bring in another hard question. If anybody, for Dan, I'm going to see if Dan can actually. And this is the 5 questions that I have. We're going to start with 5. What is the biggest problem facing Call Wrestling today that nobody wants to admit? Dan,
the toxicity of Crawl nowadays. There's a lot of toxic people in this community. And there's a lot of levels of TikTok or there's a lot of levels to being toxic in this community. So a lot of people don't want to admit it because simply they don't want to admit they're toxic. 2, and for 2, they hide behind their. Yeah, I know. 2. They hide behind their little group, and that to pretty much justify that they're not toxic, even though they are, and a bunch of other stuff. So the biggest problem is toxicity for mainly one, and also not sharing pretty much what we have been sharing, mainly as partners with JTV, WCW, AEW, WU, TNA, the positively aspect of Crawl, and the respect of others and trying to make the crawl community better than it, the what other people want to make it. To be
Now,
honest,
another question here that goes with that, and this is going to be a harder one too. So get ready, Dan. Dan Rapture, Kyle wrestling is supposed to be built on creativity, friendships, and storytelling, but communities have been damaged by drama, personal attacks, toxic behavior. What do you believe is the biggest toxic issue destroying Kyle wrestling today, and why people continue allowing it to happen? Dan, you have the mic on this one.
Oh, a lot. To be honest, nowadays a lot of people don't like the cold hard truth, and they want to believe whatever they want to believe, and thank you. It pretty much goes back to the last question. People want to believe what they want to believe and make it like more of a big deal than that it needs to be, and the drama and the toxicity and that I dealt with it back in the day before to be honest, before I came back to PlayStation and that in my Xbox days, I dealt with drama. I dealt with a lot of favoritism. I get to be honest, a lot of toxicity, drama, favoritism, and that. What I do believe it's still happening to this day, but the one main thing is why people continue to allow it. Because to be honest, mainly with this last part of this question is why do people continue to allow it to happen? Because they want to evolve into the community and the society we're in, to accept what's not right and the toxicity and drama, just to satisfy everyone. And in my opinion, and it might be other people's as well, you have to have standards on what's good for the pro wrestling community and what doesn't need to be in the crawl community. And that's where in my opinion, the division lies, is people take crawl a bit too seriously. They think they can say anything they want and they can't. And pretty much, some people are more sensitive than others, and a bunch of other stuff. So that's just my opinion on the subject, and this question is pretty much I do agree the positivity, in my opinion, needs to be more than the toxicity, the drama, the hatred, taking things too seriously, bringing up subject that doesn't need to be brought up in crawl, etc. So, especially the criticism to the next question I see.
So we got, for the next question I want to ask, construction criticism can either break a creator down or help them grow. What is the difference between someone who accepts criticism to become better and someone who takes feedback as an attack on their work?
In my opinion, I don't want to now shoot my shot, but in my opinion, I see the clans, leagues, and EFEDs I was in before JTV and how they destructed their, companies, and most of their companies, what I know of, are not, they're not a thing anymore. Like they're out of business in a way. But after seeing how the mindset of yours and J-Kids, aka Kevin Impact, ethic is, and also how can I put this? Your ethic and mindset for the community that we are part of. It's pretty much maturity and understanding what's good and what's bad for the company, and if someone's being shady or doing stuff in your community, in your promotion, that is making your promotion / community / brand look bad, you need to eliminate that so your promotion, therefore that improves in that. But with the other subject is a lot of people don't see the problem, in my opinion. A lot of people want to accept the bad stuff and also try to justify it, even though it's making their show, EFED, therefore they're that, not look good. So, in my opinion, for examples, to be honest, I see the one consumer that sees what he / she wants for their promotion, sees what shady stuff or toxic stuff or etc. what's going on in their company in a way, and also get rid of what's not good for the company. And I see the other side is they accept what's bad for their company, but ignores the help and the word on you should get rid of this person, blah 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 blah. They're going to make your company, bad. Bad reps going to happen to that to you, and blah blah blah. But they fail to ignore it, or they fail to acknowledge it, and and also therefore, and they're that for my answer with that question.
All right, we're going to move to Mark Bannon's question. He says, name the top 5 toxic people you've dealt with, Dan. I mean, I'm going to let you do it. Mark asked the question, and we're going to get down to the bottom of it. So the mic's yours.
Name the top 5 people you've dealt with in today. You're making me name drop people, Mark. In my history and my experience in the crowd world, I have to say two main people that supposedly I'm not allowed to say anymore, but I may name drop them because of you asked the question, Mark, and that is Ray Everest and Nick Tycoon for the top 2. Besides that, I heard this Trey Jeter guy is toxic as hell. Besides that, the man I raptured out of JTV when I showed up in JTV, a kind of name is Craig Mack, so that's 4. And the 5th person I dealt with in the 5th person I dealt with in my CRAW community experience is a name I don't think anybody is recognized with, but to be honest, myself, and if Mr. Nutty Boy is still in the comments, he knows who I'm talking about, and it's my former tag team partner back in the 2K15 to 2K17 days, of the name of Charles Schultz. He was a bit toxic. After him and I parted ways, but yeah. So them are my top 5 toxic people I've dealt with, Mark.
So now Dan's answered that question. Now we're going to move on to the question I had for him. Is Dan, Call has changed over the years. Do you believe leaders like Kevin Impact are helping Call involved by pushing for respect, accountability, and keeping harmful behavior away from the community?
Absolutely. I do. Absolutely. To be honest, absolutely. Because come back to another statement I said before I came to JTV, I had an opinion about the craw community. I had a strong opinion about it because how much I was misused, misutilized, and judged because of my speech, impediment, my disabilities, my in-ring skills, and that. And do I believe the leadership of Kevin Impact improves and evolves it, the respect and all that? Absolutely 100%, because I've seen before I came to JTV, and I see pretty much the light version of Craw since I joined JTV, and I do see Kevin Impact's opinion and trying to better Craw, make it more respectful, and pretty much make it less harmful, less bad in the community. So I 100% do believe the second part of this question, Kevin Impact is doing yes. 100%. He is, as much as I see you are trying to as well, and that to push the respect, the accountability, and that. So yes, I agree.
Now,
and I do believe that.
Going back to Kevin Impact here, because the next question, the last question I'm going to ask,
it's fine.
Before we get to the questions that anybody else has below that, is this. If someone criticized Kevin Impact's leadership decisions, what would you say to those people about understanding the difference between personal attacks and protecting standards of a community?
Shockingly, this actually happened recently, to be honest. So, perfect question, and the ironic of this question. Well, pretty much, I see Kevin Impact having a strong opinion about the community. He saw, as much as I have, how the Craw community has changed and the standards of the Craw community through the years changed. So that's for one. And also the leadership of Kevin Impact is, you have to understand Kevin Impact by kind of seeing it in his shoes, in my opinion, and seeing the pretty much what he's seen and that. And I do admit I don't agree on some stuff and some opinions and decisions that Kevin Impact has, but yet I see the bigger picture of it. And the bigger picture is, yes, he is trying to protect the standards and how he wants the community to be, and I'm fully behind it, because I see a lot of people accepting, for example, very toxic and people that are supporting a certain thing that I'm not going to say, but maybe the viewers watching right now know what I'm talking about. And pretty much pretty much we have to control the toxic people, the quote unquote pedo supporters, and the pedos in Craw, and the drama, etc. And pretty much the difference between those people who accept the toxicity, the drama, and the pedo supporters are one thing, but protecting what you believe in my opinion, is more. It's more, in a way, understandable and I'm yet to be honest. And it pretty much shows the bigger picture on what, in a way, the yeah, so yeah, but I do see where his leadership is on his opinion to protect the community and yeah, and a lot of people is pretty much not seeing the bigger picture and like having their own opinion about his leadership and his opinion, but a lot of people is pretty much free to have their opinion. But yeah, so that's what I see pretty much.
So Katie Nightmare just said Dan Rapture, Amber Rocks went from JTV Women's Champion to Titan Nation Alliance Women's World Champion. What are your thoughts on her legacy and accomplishments?
Interesting. To be honest, she's been. I think this is her 5 year or 5.5 or 6 year run in JTV, and she's a pioneer, in my opinion, in pretty much JTV, and her bringing that veteran status in a way to TNA, and that it pretty much, in my opinion, helps her legacy and accomplish more to help the brand of Titan National Alliance even more than before she came here. So that's my opinion about it. But yeah, she does whatever she wants anyway. So yeah. Yeah.
I guess that question's been answered.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Dan? You guys have the power to answer. Now's the time.
I'm on where are other questions? I know y'all want to ask me something. Don't be scared.
Dan Rapture, throughout your call career, many people has helped shape the competitor and legend you have become. Who are the 5 people who influenced you the most, and what did each one teach you about wrestling, leadership, and building a legacy?
All right. Well, I have to first answer that to go back to when I first started, to be honest, and the 2 guys that gave me a chance and pretty much and that and they pretty much showed me the groundings and that on this crawl community and that and also fighting online and that. So that's one. Number 2 is pretty much couple friends I made back in the day that helped me a lot to involve in that. Besides that is Dan Raptor wouldn't be in Crawl if it wasn't for my brother, rest in peace, and also my cousin that that pretty much got me into wrestling games, WWE old games like Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouths, Just Bring It, etc. back in the day. So I have to thank them on showing me what I can and cannot do in the ring. So that's 3. The 4th person I see that helped me in my legacy and helped me be the Dan Rapture of today is Alpha Wolf, the WOW. Sorry, the WU, I mean, owner of Wolf Warrior Universe. He showed me a lot that the clans, E-Feds, and leagues before did not show me, and that did not show me, and he gave me the opportunities and the I'm yet to be on and the ethics that I was failing or did not know my true strengths and weaknesses and that. But the main person is the main person I have to give the respect for, to showing somewhat of my full the way and Dan Raptor is now, and working on what's the legacy I want to leave in the croc community, and also helping me be somewhat of a leader, but being my own person, being original, and that is Kevin Impact. And Kevin Impact gave me a lot of opportunities that not just Alpha Wolf gave me, not my brother or my cousin showed me, and the others I mentioned. Mainly in my state of my croc career right now is it's all about getting to know and what you want for your character, your gimmick, etc. And Kevin Impact really is helping me find myself. And to the future of Dan Rapture, the future of Craw, and that. So mainly I want to give the most respect to Kevin Impact, then Alpha Wolf, then my brother and cousin, and also therefore they're that. So. Oh yeah. You did, Mark, to a standpoint, but yeah, you are a veteran at the game, Mark, but your ego and that can, take over at times, and but that's besides the point right now.
So here's another question, Dan, I want to ask you. Dan, some people have left JTV because they struggled with expectations, standards, and leadership decisions of the company. Do you believe those departures were a reflection of JTV's leadership, resulting in people not being ready to accept the responsibility and discipline required, and not being ready to grow in professional call environment?
Absolutely. JTV, in my opinion, is where the big boy play. And if you're not ready for where the big boys play, your departure is pretty much justified in a way on you not ready for the maturity of what JTB is, in my opinion. But not just that, is your actions and reputation, even before JTB, can reflect on your departure from JTB, in my opinion. And that, but I do agree some people may not have been ready if they first joined JTB or was interested in JTBs and then saw the maturity a bit and the environment and that of JTB and wasn't willing to adapt and that from the landscape of JTB like I did and that. So yeah, and that and in my opinion, like a certain someone, I'm not going to name drop again, but maybe some people aren't ready for the PvP world and only wants to deal with their own opinion and their own mindset on bringing in a way, the non-existing opinion they have to JTB and it doesn't work for them, so they go back to where it is more accepted in a way. Just saying, but JTB is a proving ground, in my opinion, to see you are ready for the real responsibilities, the real growth on your character, and pretty much you as a whole, and that. And some people either fail to accept the responsibility. They fail to grow as a competitor, grow as a talent. Most of them, I'm not saying names, but they think everything's a storyline and it's not, etc. So I can go on and on with this question, but yeah. I have to be honest. I'm just going to leave that the way it is.
So another question I want to ask you is, Dan Rapture, why do you think some people criticize JTB wrestling in PvP events? Do you believe it's because of genuine concerns, competition, or some people struggle with the standards and direction JTB is trying to build?
I do agree, but yeah. To be honest, pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. My opinion about this question is, yeah. A lot of people criticize JTB. They criticize J Kid / Kevin Impact. They pretty much Anyways, yeah. They pretty much like to assume that JTB is judgmental or toxic. We don't know what we're doing in the croc community, and also therefore and they're that. So there's a lot of rumors going around. Most of them not true, but that's beside the point. Some people are not ready for PvP. Some people are not, ready to involve in their skills in PvP, and that, in my opinion, I understand. Some people rather have it simulated / AI for its AI, and I'm perfectly okay with that because I swim both sides of the boat on that one. Yeah, I am PvP and AI for its AI. I don't really mind which one, but yet the reality of it is, with PvP, you adapt and you learn and you get better on your skills that you are lacking. And in my opinion, PvP helps you, get better in the ring versus tryhards and that. So that's my answer on the question.
Now, JB said he has a question.
What's that question, JB?
Also, Chris Conscience says Dan Rapture torture the soul and capture the goldness.
Yes.
Waiting on that question, VIP, if you're going to ask the question.
Yes, VIP. What is your question, Wildcard? I do have a question for VIP though, since he's active in the chat, and that is pretty much ever since I joined J2E and TNA, our paths never crossed, and I am curious if you're going to retain that TNA championship. I think it's night one of the summer PLE, because I'm actually curious on what's going to happen in our, when our paths crossed, and will you be raptured, or, the wild card will show why he is one of the legends of JTV. I just want to ask you that, VIP. But anyways, still waiting for your question, though.
Oh, think this is Damien, the Nutty Old Gaming. So he said, look, screw his question. I got a question. Do you think you make a better champion than Shendon?
That question is followed up by a personal question of mine. Okay. Do I think I'm a better champion than Shendon? Well, I don't have cronies to back me up. For one, I don't need a fancy stable to, no offense, to help me in matches and that. And also to follow up that question is, you asked me that question, Damien. It's pretty much the equivalent of, will the King of Legends version of Shendon ever emerge again? Or does Shendon actually tell the truth that that version of him is no more existent, to be honest. But in reality, I have faced Shendon in the past. He has talking me to my limits, especially in our past two encounters. One in that tag team match with Colin Klein at JTB Mega Rush, the recent episode of Mega Rush, and also following that JTB 19 Lucha Underground show when me and Shendon went one-on-one for the JTB Global Championship, and he took me to my limit. So do I think I'm a better champion than Shendon? Well, we will see. We will see.
So VIP I finally found the question that he's asking. He said, I got a question for Dan. What have you learned from VIP?
What I have learned from VIP. What have I learned from you, to be honest? Because I can see you are a JTB legend, respectfully. You are a former JTB heavyweight champion and current TNA champion. So what I have learned from you is pretty much how to be a world champion in a way. And I respectfully thank you for that, VIP. But I'm still waiting for that encounter with you to see can the legend and the wild card of TNA, the TNA champ, is your rapture upon you, or can you overcome the rapture? I'm still waiting for that encounter with you, VIP.
So we got another question by Damien. He says, do you believe you can take better losses than Shen?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because I do recall for almost a year almost a year and a half, I was on a losing streak in JTV, and it took a bit of a toll on me, but to be honest, fast forwarding to now, I look at that almost year losing streak as a learning tool that you can accept defeat and work on what made you lose and work on that so you start winning again. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, to exactly answer this question, Damien, is pretty much, in my opinion, when I step in the ring, yes, I do want to win the match, but yet, with my opinion, is I'm just in the ring to test my skills, see if what pain and adornment I can take. I could take, and a win or a loss, I accept both, but more I don't take a loss too seriously, like Shendon has kind of recently. No offense, but yeah.
So okay, Damien said, who do you think is the softest heel in JTV? Top 4.
Oh, top 4. Well, what do you think who's the toughest? Well, to be honest, all I can say to that is I'm not counting you in this since you're in BKS, but besides you, either any member of BKS in a way. Besides that, yes, that's why that kind of met. Besides Mr. Goldman and BKS or any member of BKS, besides you, to add to the softest heels is, no offense, I dealt with him as the so-called leader for a while, but he is now the leader of the Iron Misfits and the current JTB television champion, Marky Boy. Mark would pretty much be number 1, to be honest, in my opinion, because he likes to deny a lot of stuff, act like stuff didn't really happen to stroke his pride and thing, but yeah, pretty much, in my opinion. So yeah, any member of BKS besides you, Damien, and Mark, in my opinion. No offense, Mark.
So Chris Constance just said, do you have a name for your own custom special match?
I did. And I appreciate you asking me this question because my specialty customized match back in the day, because I was and technically still is undefeated in this certain match, and that is the steel cage match. And I did used to call it the Raptors playpen in a way. So, yeah.
So, is that question answered before we go on to the next one, Dan?
Yes, it is.
All right, we're going to go with the question that I have for you, and it says, Dan Rapture, rumors has started spreading about your future in JTV Wrestling. If BKS offered you a spot and the opportunity to join their side, will you consider to turn your back on JTV and embracing the role of a villain, or would your loyalty to your legacy and the fans keep you standing alone?
Well, with that said, BKS has offered me a lot to join them, but I have considered it. Low-key still is in a way currently, but my loyalty to my legacy and that pretty much, in my opinion, defines who I am. So, will I join JTV if BCS is victorious at Chemical Warfare? I don't have an answer to that because I don't know the future of JTV until Chemical Warfare happens, but in my personal opinion, I will not join BCS. I will not join BCS because I don't want to be remembered of a lackey instead of my own person.
Question is for me, would Damian Taylor be on the podcast? Yeah, we will talk about that. I'd literally have to DM you to get your best time so we could set up a date, but that will be a future podcast for Nitro is Dead.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting podcast.
So what do you guys think about Mark Bannon versus Amber Rocks? Put it down in the chat. I want to know about that too.
We're coming back to this subject, I see.
Any more questions for Dan before Mark has a hissy fit over the Amber comments?
It's all right, Mark. It's all right. It's gonna be okay.
Don't be a Mark Cocoon.
Yeah, if Mark refuses to do the match, we can always DM Kevin Impact to have a discussion about that match actually happening. Just saying. I know Kevin Impact can pull a little bit of strings to kind of possibly make that Amber versus Mark 2 probably happen. Oh, Damien has a good opinion. Let's put another pull up if you want, CJ.
Matter of fact, I will do that poll on Twitter, and I'll make it for like, I think you can make it up to a week. So I'm giving the fans a week to vote if they want to see Amber Rocks versus Mark Bannon, first ever PvP match, maybe at the summer PLE event. Never know what I might do, but
Possibly, yeah. That's yeah. Yeah, to be honest, yeah. I know that you can be unpredictable a lot. I do too, Damien. I do too. I really enjoy
so if Third Eye's
the
watching, I'm going to go back to the question
All right.
to the Third Eye. And this is going to be one of the questions that, you answered earlier, but hopefully you can answer it again. So if Third Eye's watching, I want to make sure Third Eye's watching.
Yeah, that's fine. What I consider
Third Eye
as a dream opponent. Yeah, I answered this, and with the Third Eye here, I can repeat myself and say I more see the Third Eye as a possibly ally because he can see visions more than an opponent. But if fate chooses to have the Third Eye versus the Rapture, I am curious on how that match will play out. And I am more curious on will the Rapture take over the Third Eye, or will the Third Eye overcome the Rapture? Yes. I can see them going back and forth in the comments. Yeah.
So Kevin Impact responded with a question. He says, "Why did you pick the name Rapture?" This is for you, Dan.
Yeah, I actually was waiting for this question to be asked because it's an interesting subject. Because my original gimmick when I started, playing wrestling games, wrestling games back in the day with my cousin and brother and friend from school, and that my old gimmick / name was Dan O'Mac. Dan O'Mac because I am partially Irish. But after a while, when I started doing, PvP matches, after I started, doing online matches and that in clans, leagues, EFED, blah 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 on Xbox, and that and a little bit on PS3, PS4, and that and also one league I was in the past misused me enough that tarnished the Dynamac legacy / gimmick. So that's why the, in a way, current / new gimmick I have since late 2017 and early 2018 to present is Dan Rapture, because the new persona I'm doing / gimmick is pretty much an kind of a digital anti of Dynamac that kind of wants to prove himself, but avenge what happened to Dan Rapp. What happened to Dynamac, but in a alternate way, in a way. So to be honest, and also in believable standards that pretty much Dan or Daniel and the Rapture is coexistent with each other. So it's pretty much a big meaning to my character and persona, and also pretty much the way I want to, in a way, preference myself in a way to pretty much rapturing somewhat of my past, but keeping part of my past that is pretty much the passion to go on in my career. So that's the main reason why I picked Rapture as my, in a way, Craw last name now.
Also, Damien said, explain the Lucky 13.
For the longest time, I can't really explain it too much, but for the longest time, my favorite number was 13. And I do like to take chances and pretty much to be honest, the Lucky 13 nickname was pretty much me overcoming the odds in life in general, and also what the croc community put in front of me. It also means in a different way what Damien does like to troll me a lot about. And I know it's a joke, but I'm going to mention it anyways, when Damien and I started to have a friendship rivalry, the first 13 matches him and I had, he beat me in all 13, but the 14th match, I finally beat him. So, yeah, that's also why I picked mostly 13, but yeah.
So we're going on another question. If you already answered that one,
yeah, that's fine.
This question is actually for me, but also it could be for you too because he said my name. But I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to let you answer it too. My favorite and JTB would have to be the Mega Rush. TNA would be Mondo Mania 6, but for Dan, you got the floor on that one just in case he asked you too. So I'm adding you into that.
All right, that's fine. Yeah. My favorite area for TNA, I have to agree with you, CJ. Is Mondo Mania 6. For JTV, there's a lot of arenas that I liked from JTV since I showed up 3.5 years ago. But if I had to pick one or two of them, is pretty much Ultimate Showdown 5 and let me go back to that. To Beyond, I get to Beyond, Ultimate Showdown 5 in Chicago, and the I think was last year's or 2020. Sorry, 2024 Pumpkin Night Arena. I liked those two were my favorite from JTV, yeah. But from TNA, it's to be honest, it's 100% Mondo Mania 6. Mr. Chris Conscience.
Now, if we both answered that, there's another question that just popped up.
All right.
Answering that, I'm making sure before we move on to the next one.
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So the next question is, would Dan Rapture ever team with the likes of a woman stars in the intergender matches? Would TNA ever have a mixed tag team division?
I will. Yeah. Never team up. I actually would. There's a handful of women's stars from TNA. To be honest, I don't mind either facing it intergender matches, intergender tag team matches, etc. To name a couple for intergender tag matches or mixed tag team matches is pretty much it's pretty much the mixed tag first is me and Amber, aka Danber. Me and my crawl daughter, Lily, for mixed tag team. To be honest, for opponents for intergender matches or tag matches, I can see CJ Mondo and Brooke Mondo versus me and Lily, or me and Amber. I can see Mackenzie King and Alice King as opponents for intergender tag and mixed tag. I can see a lot of women's talent and me and fellow woman star as partners in that. Live.
If
Yeah.
Okay, we got that question finished, correct?
Yes.
Answered. All right, we're gonna go with Chris Conscience. He says, what's your submission?"
What is your submission? The triangle choke is my submission. Yeah, and I've called it the Eye of the Triangle since SmackDown vs. Raw 09. Yeah, to be honest, 09, yeah, because I just thought it was a cool name and a cool submission hold. To be honest. Yeah, the triangle choke. I do name it the Eye of the Triangle. Yes.
All right, are we finished with that?
Yes.
All right, we're going to move on to Damien's. He said, "What do you think of a 6-man tag team match with Damien, Amber, and you versus your choosing?"
So Damien, Amber, and me versus now you're going to make me think, Damien. You, me, and Amber versus, well, I can see all three of us taking on 3 members of BKS. BKS, if you leave BKS, of course, I can see you, me, and Amber facing Shendon, Toya, Tamahami. I know I butchered her name. And whoever else that want to tag with them in a 6-man tag to answer your question, Damien. Yes.
All right. Since that question's answered, are we ready to go to the next one?
Yep. Next question.
All right. This is from Chris Conscience. What do you think about Miss J from JTV? Same question goes to me as well. And I'm going to answer it last. I'll let you go first, Dan.
Miss J is a wonderful interviewer, very professional, and that she is a centerpiece, centerpiece of the commentary with you and Kevin Impact. She kind of brings the more excitement to the commentary for JTV. So your turn, CJ.
Going back to that question that Dan answered, what I think of Miss J from JTV. Very respectful lady, right down to earth. I'm just going to say that, respectively. She's probably one of the most favorites of mine in JTV. Got an opportunity to actually be on commentary booth. It was one for the show that we had, I think, for WCW with the segment with Ric Flair. I think it was either Tully Blanchard or Tony Blanchard or something like that. I had Tessa Blanchard in that storyline that same night where we had Ric Flair going to Kevin Impact, wanting a match. Definitely, I think that Miss J is, like I said, respectful, down to earth, very knowledgeable of the wrestling business. She is intelligent, smart, and definitely a friendly person to get to know, and that's what I pretty much think about her. She's pretty much friendly, down to earth, caring, and very respectful human being in the JTV as a broadcaster and an interviewer of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think me and Dan answered that from Chris Conscience. Now we're going to go to Kevin Impact, and he answered, "What do you like? What do you like most about Kyle?" And I think that is for Dan himself.
Yeah, I think that's for me. What do I like the most about Craw is pretty much the ability to show my skills and my passion, and what pretty much the reason why I am still in Craw is pretty much besides making friends in that and testing my skills, abilities in that versus them, it's pretty much making a whole like community in that to enjoy Craw without the other bullshit in it, in a way. So that's my answer.
So back to that question. I thought it was for you, Dan, but apparently Impact said that I could answer it after you. So if you're finished,
go ahead.
Basically, what I like the most about Kyle is not only you get your name out, but you get to live exactly what it meant to be a professional wrestler. Not only that, but meet some cool people that are not pedophiles. Pretty fair. And if you're offended by me saying that the pedophile word, that I don't want to be hanging around pedophiles, then maybe this podcast ain't for you. But going back on Kevin Impact's question, the most thing I like about Call is meeting different people, working with different people, just having friendships, loyalty, and a group that I can actually trust and not pretty much be what I call a backbiting people that pretty much says, oh, yeah, we got your back. And then, it may be, 1 month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, maybe 6 months down the road, and they doing the same old shit, same old error. The most thing that I like about Call, though, is not only, telling a story, but also building the name up, from the ground up. For example, as CJ Mondo, when I first started, I didn't even get to be on, HKW television until I could, learn the fundamentals, taking, the bumps, running the ropes, learning everything that I'm learning now in the real business is, you got to pay your dues. That is the most important, I think, that everybody in Calls should make newer recruits go through. Make them pay their dues. If they ain't paying their dues, don't hand them out anything, not even a title match. Let them work their way up. Let them know how hard it is to grab that title, how hard it is to work for it, how hard it is to grind for it. That's the main thing that I like about Call, because, the promoters that I'm around, this right here is the thing I'm going to say about JTV and Kevin Impact, and as well as people that I work with here. We don't have to worry about, people going behind each other's back, starting drama. We can just, set low, drink or eat, drink pop, eat our chips, say our vitamins, etc. And we can go on our day and literally do our own thing, that we don't have to worry about, these pedophiles or pedophile supporters, because, we know exactly where we stand. That's the main thing about it. We know where we stand. We know that we are standing for a good cause of Call. And most people, like I said, probably going to hate this podcast, but you know what? They can kiss my white cheeks and my white ass. But going back to that, what I like about the Call is the most important topic that, I think that needs to be in Call. Not only paying your dues part, but the brotherhood and respect. If you can't have the respect, if you can't respect somebody on what they want to believe or what they doing for their show, if you can't have that brotherhood mentality, I mean, why the fuck are you in here? I'm just saying, I'm just speaking true facts. I mean, if you can't have the respect or the brotherhood, I mean, the respect goes a long way, because if you can't have respect for somebody that's been there, longer than you, it's put their time in longer than you, and you coming in here disrespecting people, then in the business, I've never had to deal with this, and thank God that I've respected my peers, before me. But I could say this, that what I think could happen, you could get a receipt, and what a receipt is pretty much somebody's going to like bust you open to where you get that mentality and get that brain to thinking, maybe I don't need to be disrespecting people, or maybe I don't need to be shutting brotherhoods down. That's the main thing that I see that we need to do with Call, and I like most about it, because the brotherhood and respect portion. If you can't have those two, then, like I said, why are you here? Also, I'm going to say here that there's a lot of things that I think that, we could change, but other people cannot change. And that's, allowing people that are toxic, that are influencers, that literally say that, basically want you to kiss their ass and literally say this and literally, think that, you're going to give them a chance after they, pretty much showed their true colors, backbite you in the butt. And going back to Kevin Impact's question, I got a lot of things I'm saying on air because it's the truth. So that's what I like most about Call. The paying dues part, the brotherhood, and the respect of it. If you can't take those three, If you think that you should be handed stuff because you're a big name, or big names, listen, I get it that you paid your time in, but in the real business, just because you're a big name in the E-Fed world and you go in and ask for a title, I can guarantee you one thing: you're not going to get it, because they're going to tell you, okay, put up that ring and show me what you could do. Show me what bumps you could take. Show me how to run the ropes. Show me how to do this. And if you can't do those things, if you can't run the ropes, especially if you can't take the bumps, then your wrestling career is about as dead as your egos. I mean, I'm just going to put it point blank. And that's the mentality you got to have as a call promoter or call creator, or even the call wrestler behind the call, is you got to think like the business. If you can't think like the business, why are you here for? Why are you wasting not only Tight Nation Live's time, but JTV's time, WCW's time on, DJ's in, ONW's time? I mean, why are you wasting our times if you're going to keep on doing the same repetitive shit over and over and over and over? It's like, to the point that, you're closing the gate on yourself. Going back to, future, not really future things that's happened. It's pretty much past things that's happened. You've had people that said that, they'd be still supporting our channels, but in reality, where did that go to? It basically went straight down the toilet flushed all the way down to the left parts of the sink of what we call the sewers, or should I call the E-Fed shitters. Going back on this question, I'm going to add a little bit more detail to this, because I think that this needs to be said, especially with this question for Kevin Impact. The other thing that I like about Call is you get to meet cool-ass people, especially promoters, that will let you say whatever you want on their podcast or, their chats, as long as it has to do with wrestling, as long as you're in character, as long as you're doing your job. And they will let you speak out, have a voice, speaking out against these toxic people, against this, pedophile supporters, and all these other things that are added to it that's not making Call worth, fun anymore, because now you're going on people's shows just to watch and just get a cheap reaction. In the words of Edge, I think he said this to The Miz when MJF and CM Punk had that little segment on AEW. Edge told Miz this, I think it was on SmackDown or Raw, that you're having people from other shows just to take cheap reactions at your name. In other words, you're coming to watch our shows and try to get cheap reactions just because you can't be a part of the group no more because the train's left the station, or maybe you screwed up somewhere that, you had a good partnership and you broke it loose because you as the individual couldn't hang with the product and couldn't hang with the program, and you let it slip through your fingers because you thought, giving a person a second chance or a third chance would be better than having a real friend like Kevin Impact. That's the truth. Get mad. I don't really care. I mean, I've been in the E-Fed world. I mean, I've pretty much been one of the most hated individuals for a reason. And maybe it's because I speak so much truth that these haters literally don't have nothing else better to do just to keep on coming back and listening in, because I'm pretty much making them fill out a butthurt report. What caused the butthurt? Date, time. Did you cry? Was there tissues needed? I mean, I could pretty much have the whole thing so you could fill out and take an application on. But going back, like I said, adding more detail to this, the main thing I like about Call is hang around supporters that actually are going to have your back. And especially when you're thinking about doing something, communication is key. Go talk to them before you actually bring it to full tuition, because I've noticed this in Call too. A lot of people, a lot of creators, a lot of content creators, a lot of Call promoters does not talk with one another. And that's the main thing where you have divisions, because if you don't talk it out, how are you going to literally be about anything if you don't talk it out like man to man? So it's pretty much like you're wanting to listen to one side without listening to the other, and it's like a dead bush with no water, no nutrients, or nothing, no sunlight for that bush to survive. How's that bush going to survive if you don't have water or sunlight? It's going to die out. Just like, these people that's, negative, that wants to always, have some kind of feedback, whether they listening to your content, whether they doing, fake accounts on Facebook, fake accounts here, fake accounts there. They just want a cheap reaction because you're in their head rent free. You're basically doing the right thing, whether it's in call or in a podcast, on YouTube, whatever the examples may be, but you're doing the right thing. You're basically focused on you and your health and your growth, and they can't stand that because they want to be the centers of attention. Truth on that, but that's my response to what Kevin Impact had for a question.
Yes.
And I definitely agree with Kevin Impact there. And also,
I do too.
Any more questions? Because we got 14 minutes until we're going off there with the show. So if anybody's got questions, now's the time to bring them to Dan.
Yes. Where are your questions?
I think we missed one. This was by Liv Broski. She said, if I was on TNA for one night and I was available to team up with Dan Rapture for one night, and would the Wolf Sleeper and Lucky 13 be a good thing to use in mixed tag team matches? Trying something new here.
Interesting. Hey, I would be totally up for it. That sounds good. Yeah. I'll be 100% down for a mixed tag team match. I could help you get your bearings in TNA or J2E, either one. I don't mind helping new talent in that, possibly. I don't mind at all.
So now we're going to go with the final questions, closing of the show. So if you guys got one last question, it's going to be first come, first serve basis.
Yes.
That question out is definitely going to be the last question on this podcast.
I wonder who it's going to be.
Who's going to be the lucky last lucky 13?
One last question for the Rapture. Yes. You can answer this question, CJ.
Putting out their own chips or sodas. I mean, hopefully we get our own ice cream bars, in the words of CM Punk. That'd be good. We have a Chris Conscience, Third Eye ice cream bar with the Dan Rapture, and also you get one of those Ron La Foo soda pops, kind of like a Coca-Cola, but it's built like a candy bar or ice cream with the soda effect with the La Foo.
Any more questions?
Yep, you only got 10 minutes. If you guys want to go ahead and throw them questions in. 10 minutes until we close the show of the podcast. It's been an epic 3 hours. It's 2 hours minutes now, but it's epic 3 hours of, a lot of things that Dan, spoke of, especially with Kevin Impact's leadership. Go back if you've not watched that. Dan put a good examples of Kevin Impact's leadership over the toxicity, the pedophiles, etc. So go back and watch that during the show. He's talked about Chris Conscience, Amber Rocks. I mean, there's a lot of information on this podcast with Dan that he's basically just stood his ground on the topics.
Mm-hmm. Time checking. Where are the questions?
Come on, don't put Dan to sleep. I know you guys can do better than that. You're putting Lucky 13 to sleep.
I did almost 3 hours of it. Don't disappear now.
If you put him to sleep, I'm going to blame Rhymestorm and he's LaFufu. Or should I just put that to Mark? I think that's the Mark LaFufu donuts we got.
Whatever it is, it's one of those two reasons. Elegant cookies.
Okay, Liv Broski got the last question. Would Dan chase Ryan with peanut butter LaFufu donuts?
Ryan is a peanut nut LaFufu donut. How about that?
But anyways, guys,
I like that question.
Want to take the time and literally thank Dan for showing up because we got 7 minutes on this podcast. Plus, I got to play the theme music. So definitely want to thank Dan for making his way to be a part of this podcast. And if you guys want to see Dan back on a future episode, put on those comments on the live chat or maybe even the comments after we go off air. Definitely will bring Dan back. Just let us know your comments. And also comments also for Damian Taylor. Put your comments in the live chat for that one and the comment section below. And we're going to call it a podcast since the last question's been answered. I want to thank Dan before we officially turn it over to the theme song of Nitro is Dead.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
We remember them all. Yeah, but Nitro is dead.